paper. So on our agenda today, we want to look at how the assignments and objectives line up and what that purpose could be, as well as exploring what our topic is and some considerations as you tackle each of these stages. So first, let's look at those assignments and objectives together. This is a spreadsheet that's available. It also includes the dates for your particular session and class in the student lounge on campus. But let's go look at it in more detail. Submitted assignments are often about revisions. So we also want to think about them as not existing in a vacuum. So when we're looking at our topic proposal here in session 1, that is going to be an idea of what we want to write our paper about. And it becomes our rough draft 1, which becomes our rough draft 2, 3, and our final paper. So as we're looking at all of those submitted assignments, they aren't changing and altering in terms of like a new topic or totally new things. Instead, we are editing and revising and working on growing an idea. But if it's not in a vacuum, we also need to think about those discussions. When we talk about things like brainstorming, that is preparing us to write our topic proposal. When we talk about our writing process, that is going to lead into our outline and our draft. When we look at the research process and evaluating sources, that again is about adding and developing our particular topic. So each of these assignments, whether it's a discussion or a submitted assignment or a revised assignment, is building into that final paper. So what do they look like together? We look at those course objectives and we may think, oh, that's lots of nice words, but like what is that supposed to do for us? Well, we give a course objectives because we want you to see what our overall aim is. We are increasing our communication skills. We're working on structure of academic essays, of writing in and of itself, all of these different pieces. So when we bring that over here to what it looks like in our process itself, we are practicing these ideas. So as you go through each draft, it's not about, well, let me, edit a couple words or fix a sentence. Instead, we're starting off with the idea of what kind of steps do I need to take to start writing? What does that look like? Mind mapping, brainstorming, outlining, listing. What kind of elements are helpful to me? And then we're looking at how we can use the revision process to look at making a draft and adding support. That goes with our academic resources, organizing it, and APA. So each time you do one of the drafts, part of what I'm looking at is that specific session and topic. So maybe looking at adding resources and what support looks like. While I'm focusing on a big picture item, I'm also going to give you support consistently about all the elements. So as you're looking at feedback, as you're looking at each part, we are focusing on one concept, but we are also sort of to the side seeing those other things grow as we move forward. So maybe we don't get APA right away, but we look at a template that we can utilize, and then we keep growing in how we utilize that template, how we do references, how we add citations. All of that grows as we grow, and it's not about perfection. It's about practicing these things. And what kind of topic? Well, we give you a tiny bit of narrowing here. We want you to focus on your degree or field of study or your chosen career field or work. So this isn't a huge narrowing. There are lots of possibilities here within the starting point, but it does give us a focus. Rather than saying anything, we say, hey, if your degree is in psychology, what does that mean? Like, what do you plan to do with that? What could that job look like? For instance, sometimes we talk about, hey, I have an aim, like maybe I want to be a social worker. Well, what are those requirements in your area? Because those things vary by state. What if I want to focus on a particular group of people and become a therapist? So say I want to be a therapist to children. Well, what kind of requirements do I need to look at for not only being a therapist to children, but also in my particular geographical location? So we start to build a picture of what our future is going to look like. And it gives us some space to navigate from there. We can also say, hey, what if like 5 of us are in business management? Well, how many possible outlets are there for that? There's so many things we can do with business. And When we're writing our submitted assignments, yes, that's between you and I, but those discussions are your chance to say, hey, look, all of us, so many of us are doing X, Y, or Z. So we're in business, or we're in psychology, or we're in logistics, or we're in this field. What do we want to do with that? What could we grow with that? And we get the chance to see that the same field, the same starting point, has so many possibilities and outlets. And we grow from that as well. So, some considerations I want you to have as you tackle this. Because it doesn't exist in a vacuum, how am I going to remember that? As I'm looking at all of these assignments and remembering that they all go back to a core concept, consider something like writing 10 words about your topic. It could be your thesis that you're writing there, it could be a short sentence, it could be a list of some key points, but have that near you all the time. So as you're working on a discussion, hey, this discussion should support me in accomplishing my goal. Hey, this submitted assignment, it should support me in accomplishing my goal. You're always building toward that idea. Yes, we are going to shift it, edit it, alter it. All kinds of stuff is going to happen to it. But we're going to have that core concept throughout all of it. So whatever that big concept topic is, that's what we're going to keep refining and working on. Also, remember that a lot of this, I'm going to switch slides really quick. A lot of this is about revision. So when you are revising that essay, I'm going to give you feedback and I need you to apply it. That can look like a lot of different things because we all have different spaces where we are strong and different spaces where we have challenges. So, as you're applying that feedback, make sure you're comfortable reaching out. It should feel like, oh, I'm growing, I'm stretching, but it should not feel like pain. It should not feel like a difficult puzzle that is impossible or overwhelming. Instead, you should say, okay, that's the kind of feedback. She says I need to do this, but I don't know how to do that, and these supports aren't helping me. So reach out and ask those questions. The moment class becomes miserable, reach out. I've shared this slide previously and I'm sharing it again because I want you to remember that when you are in class, you are growing, you are stretching, you are pushing your boundaries. That's awesome. But within that space, there is a comfortable pain and then there is an overwhelming pain, an overwhelming difficulty. So the moment it reaches past the good pain of growth into a place of just complete discomfort and misery and being awful about it all, that's when you have to reach out because it shouldn't be in that space. It should be a place of growth, of excitement, but not of disappointment and dread. So when you have those negative feelings, make sure you're reaching out, have a conversation. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe you need more tips and ideas. Maybe you need different supports than what we have in one particular area. That's on me to grow for you, to find you those things that are going to make it all click. And I can't wait to help you find them. So remember, our assignment is throughout the entire course. We're going to keep growing that paper. We're going to keep learning about those steps so that we are excited and confident tackling any future assignment.